Welcome to our third episode of Paranormal Chit Chat with Jen and Violet. Tonight we have our special guests from WIPRS Paranormal, Evelyn and Marianne. I'm sorry, I've known you for a few years.
Hi, Jen. How you doing tonight?
Good. How are you?
Oh, well, after getting past our little technical issues, we're doing really well. I do have Marianne on the phone. We couldn't get her up on the screen, so she is with us.
So how are you two doing tonight?
We're doing pretty good. A little warmer than it has been. Still snowy and cold, but
oh yeah,
c'est la vie.
And we're supposed to get more this weekend.
Oh yeah, something to look forward to.
All right. And we do have Violet with us as usual. There she is.
Hello.
Hi, how's weather up by you?
It is currently snowing.
Yes, it's something new.
But it's prettier up there.
I don't know if you heard Marianne say it's prettier up there for some reason.
Yeah, we got some good sights. We got the coastline and the mountains and all that good stuff.
Her daughter lives up in New Hampshire.
Ah, yes, very similar then.
Beautiful area. Beautiful area. But nice to be with you guys tonight.
Well, thanks for joining us.
Oh, our pleasure.
I always like to talk to you gals. Bill?
We feel the same. We love having you come down to the jail. We love sharing stories and seeing what's up in the paranormal world.
We always have a good time when we come to visit.
Indeed we do.
We always get something.
Yes.
I told Violet about the jail before.
Mm-hmm. Well, maybe sometime she'll have an opportunity to come on down and visit. That'd be great.
Oh, I would love that. That would be wonderful.
You're always welcome.
Thank you.
Pick up the phone when you're in town. We'll make sure you get in there.
Oh, yeah.
Plan.
We had a really active night Saturday night.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we had a group come down from Elkhart, Heart City Paranormal. And there were 4 of them. And actually, in a little bit, maybe I can play a couple of the EVPs he sent me. But they managed to catch her. Well, we can talk about that later, too, and what we have going on there. But, yeah, they were very excited. They went ahead and booked another date. So
wow.
Down the 24th of February.
All right. You ladies want to get started?
Sure.
Absolutely.
All right. Can you tell us just a little bit about yourselves? We've talked about you a little bit so far. What age did you know the paranormal existed?
Well, I'm going to let Marianne address that. Let me know if you can hear her okay. Mary, why don't you start by telling her what started with the move to Story Avenue?
Well, let's see, I was about 13, and we moved into a new house in the Bronx, New York. And right away, I started hearing things. I didn't see things, but I heard them. I was touched. I felt I was pushed down our stairs at least once a week. And things were happening. My sister and my mom and dad would wake up and find me sleeping on their floor because I would wander the house. So we started hearing things and stuff, but it wasn't until 1980, 79, 80, when I moved out to Indiana, and my sister moved out and said, you know, Dad has been seeing things for a long time.
Just corroborated what she had experienced. It was quite enlightening. Our father became very ill, ended up being at home, not able to work. And we thought a lot of it was physical, part of the problems he was experiencing because of therapies and surgeries and stuff that he was going through. And come to find out, it was nothing to do with him physically. It was the house. And then he proceeded to tell us what he was seeing in the home. The old German man at the bottom of the stairs, the children on the stairs, and it started explaining a lot of things. And then he talked about his little people. He called them balls of light that he would see and hear. And it wasn't until I personally saw that that I realized that it had nothing to do with his mind. It was actually in the home. So we had quite a time. Now, my mom never did. I don't think she ever wanted to. She ended up being in the house by herself quite often alone when Dad was going through surgeries and so forth. And I think it would have frightened her more than anything. So it was easier for her to deny it and not acknowledge it. And I think it actually left her alone because of it.
But tell them about Alicia on the stairs.
Now, we went back. My father was scheduled for surgery, and we traveled back from Indiana. Had Marianne's oldest daughter at the time, who was only 2. And so it's just the 4 ladies in the house. And we hear my little niece talking in the front room by herself. We walk in, and she's laying across the bottom of the stairs on the landing, looking up, little feet kicking, her little hands crossed, and she's just pattering away. And who are you talking to? And she says, the kids. My mom. Where? She's there. And she points to the top of the stairs. There's a boy and a girl. The ones that we feel may have been the ones pushing Marianne down the stairs were all that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that raised the hair on the back of our neck. So we all slept together that night. Continued hearing, seeing things in the house. It was just an ongoing process from there on. But that certainly cemented our belief that something does exist outside of this plane.
And then I moved into a house out here that had something in it. It was, I believe, the old farmer, but we also had a cat. We did not have a cat, but we let a cat in and out of the house all the time. It came out of my closet, would come down the hall, we'd open the door and go out. Next thing you know, you hear noise at the door, you open it, the cat would come in and go back into the closet.
Actually feel it brush against your leg. It was quite creepy. Quite creepy. Yeah, we all had I stayed with Marianne and her husband at the time for the first 4 or 5 months I lived here in Indiana, and I got my own place. And yeah, there was some... well, we found out later from other people as well. It's funny because even then people were not talking about it. When we grew up in the Bronx, you didn't have anybody to talk about it. They didn't want to. Friends wouldn't stay over at the house. You couldn't have overnights because are you kidding? You've got weird stuff going on, and we really don't want to be there. So it frightened them. So you just kind of kept it to yourself. We had 2 sisters that swore that our dad had actually brought something to their homes and wanted him to take it back because they both started experiencing stuff in the house. But even then, there was no sit-down kind of conversation about it. It was all kind of hush-hush kind of thing. And even again, when we came out here, and she started experiencing it, I moved out. I did not have any issue, but our mom followed shortly thereafter. Dad had passed soon after moving to Indiana. Mom got a place of her own, and guess what? She had a history in the house we didn't know about until we found out much later when we were actually trying to sell the house. And an original owner came and started telling us what was going on that Mom experienced when she first moved in, like the basement windows would never stay shut. And she actually nailed them shut after a while because she was frightened of, obviously, coming from New York to a whole different kind of area here. Those windows were going to be nailed shut. But there had been a death upstairs. There had been somebody who hung himself at the basement stairs. There was always that creepy feeling in the basement. The kids would stand in there and play. I mean, it was just all kinds of things going on that we were not aware of.
Wow.
It kind of cemented again our beliefs that there was something beyond this plane. And it wasn't until after, life changes. Our kids grew up. We both divorced. Mom eventually needed care, and then Mom passed. And Marianne was the one that spotted the article in the Fort Wayne Journal-Gazette about the Mansfield Reformatory. She calls me up and she says, Ev, there are people who do this. They go out looking for it. They talk about it. It's time to, get off the pot and let's make that leap. And we got the kids together. Our kids weren't old enough to do the actual tour, but she and I did, and we haven't looked back. So that was back in 2005. So we've been doing this almost now 13 years.
Wow.
You ladies are amazing.
And it's been fun all the way around. I mean, we've kept it. It was basically family. We joke about eventually having to pay for our kids' therapy because our family vacations, everything was planned around at least one good investigation someplace. We always talk about that one huge trip we did. We did Waverly Hills, we did Gettysburg, we did upstate New York, Valentine. Stopped and visited some family in Jersey for just giggles, and then hit Niagara Falls for I don't know why on the way home. But it was like 2,500 miles in 10 days, and it was just a blast. But we've learned since then that you want to really spread things out so you can enjoy them a little more than trying to get from one to the next. So it's always been kind of a family affair kind of thing.
And now it's just me and Ev.
Yeah, the kids have grown. They've kind of gone on their own. When they can, they'll come along. We've certainly missed the young people, especially schlepping all that equipment up downstairs. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I think that biggest hit was when we did the Myrtles plantation, and we had the captain's quarters where you have the whole stairwell with the mirror, and then the upstairs. And those staircases are like a staircase and a half. Those little steps that you have to go up.
Oh, yeah. Those old style steps. I don't know how those women with those big old poofy dresses and those heels, I don't know how they did it with everybody. With everybody falling downstairs, breaking their back, breaking their neck. I mean, it's awful.
I don't know if you heard Marianne. She just said they certainly didn't have big feet. That's for sure.
Yeah, because I come along with my size 12 foot, and it's like,
there you go.
Doesn't work.
Oh. Yeah, it's and that's when, like I said, we really did miss, you got to change a camera. Oh man, you have to be all the way downstairs. And she was the one doing the running. Yeah, it was quite noticeable on that particular trip that we were lacking the young people. So we've tried to pare down. We have a lot of stuff, a lot of equipment. We can, pretty much wire up anything you want. So we'll keep it manageable, and then we can do it ourselves and still enjoy the time and still get what we feel is a good coverage of the area. So,
what is your go-to piece of equipment? Like, what is the favorite thing for you to use?
Right now, it's a toss-up. The SLS camera is my
Yes, I love the SLS.
One of my favorites. Only because I'm just enamored with what it gathers for you, the amount of data that it can give you. And I'm looking to make sure that we can actually verify that information. I'm all for, I believe that I don't need to be convinced, but I want to know. I want to have the proof. That's what we're there. That's why we do this. This is why we schlep around. This is why we do this kind of thing, because I want to get that evidence. I want to get that recording. I want to get that audio. And I feel that the more that we can provide in a given session, whether it's audio recorders, cameras, I want to be able to document that. And the SLS and the new EDI, which is the combination of your EMF detector, a temperature. It's also gathering other information in the vicinity, and it puts it to a card, a memory card that you can pop out and pop it into your computer, and it'll drop that into an Excel file. And you have, moment to moment, second to second, you can tell what is going on. And I think for our purposes, it's going to give, if we keep these records and we do the diligence in keeping the records, that we would at some point in time be able to find the connecting dots that we can all pull together and move forward with paranormal investigating, and being able to give it more veracity, to be able to approach this scientific field and say, you know what, you've set the parameters for us. You're telling us we need to replicate this. First, we have to start by documenting it and then prove and connect the dots. I just think we need to move forward in that direction. That's what I'm trying to do. Not that we like to talk about this stuff. So, anytime I start going off on a tangent, you ladies just put your hand up and say, focus, Evelyn, focus. Okay. No comment from you, Marianne.
Yeah, right.
I was wondering if she's still awake over there.
Oh, she is. I've got her in my hand. I keep shaking her every once in a while, going, hello, hello.
She's been quiet.
Yes, so it's okay.
Oh.
All right. So what is your most prominent experience you ladies have had? Can you tell us? Or tell us about them?
What are most prominent, Marianne, for you?
It's got to be the jail, because it's getting to the point where now we can walk in, and while people are setting up, and I tell them about different ones, and I will start talking to the ones that we know that are there, and their meters will start going off, and they're looking at me like, what? And I said, no, talk to them, and invite them in and stuff, and their EMF detectors are starting to go, the REM pods are starting, and I said, they're here, so I mean, I enjoy that the most right now. The best one I think was Prospect Place, because we were the first ones in there. And we had some wonderful experiences, but I'm glad that we've worked our way up to where we are now.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, very true. Very true. I think as far as a prominent, one that sticks out most for me was probably also one of my scariest. Black Moon Manor. We had done an investigation there.
Yeah.
And I understand what happened with the background of that. It was all fabricated, but they also believed that the gentleman that had bought it was actually trying to create that environment, that he had asked people to come in and whether it was invoke, bring in something. I think he managed to accomplish that. So there were probably a number of layers of activity. Had absolutely nothing to do with the original home itself, but it was invited. Whether he opened portals, whatever you choose to believe, however they pierced that veil, I do believe there was spirit activity there. We were getting ready to leave. Now, that was our first location. We had used a generator because it has nothing. There's no power, water, nothing. Actually, there's nothing.
Potties.
No potties.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Uh-huh. And, long story about that. But we had the generator going and decided, well, when the generator kicked out about, I don't know, it was 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning, we decided to go ahead and pack it up. I was standing in the room by myself waiting for the group to come in to grab the rest of the stuff. I have a table laying against my leg and holding up some boxes and stuff when I felt something come into that room. And it was the first time I was truly frightened there. Now, I had nothing with me. I had no recorder running. I had no camera running, no light. And I start, when I'm nervous like that, I start talking aloud. And I'm telling it, this is not fair. I cannot record you. And now you come out. And, I'm just trying to keep a conversation going until Marianne came back in. I said, we can get out of here. We can get out of here now. Trying to get back out around that doorway. And we were just about there when I felt a pressure in the middle of my back. And I was literally pushed into Marianne. And to the doorway. Thank goodness Marianne was there. Or I would have been out the door. It was that forceful, and I am not a small person. So to feel that sense of complete helplessness, like something has taken over, just really scared the you-know-what out of me. And I took that to heart. We're out of here, and thank you very much. We had one cord we found out wasn't ours. The guy that was with us kind of just opened that door, threw back in, we ran down the stairs, and we were out of there, done. And then come to find out that there was a lot of circumstances surrounding whatever spirit activity had been brought into there. Could have been something we really wouldn't have wanted dealt with anyway. So, but that sticks out in my mind time and time again. It was that the physicality of it really, really bothered me to a large part.
I think one of my scariest ones was the rectory in Ohio.
Oh, yes, indeed.
I was coming down the back staircase, and something it felt like I walked through something, but I got physically sick, and then my nose started bleeding.
Is that the Sadamsville Rectory?
No, it was I'll think about the name. Yeah,
Where was it at?
We did Sadamsville Rectory. That was the other, we were down in the kitchen area with the bat, if you remember that one, Marianne.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. This one was by Cleveland. I'll have to look up the name.
It's right there at the river.
Yeah. Yeah.
Was it St. Joseph Hospital?
No, it was another rectory. I've got it on our listing here. I'll look it up and pull up the name. But yes, I remember it scared us all because of her reaction. We didn't know if we needed to, leave. Definitely get her out of there because she had gotten so physically touched and reacted to it. It was the Madison Seminary, Madison, Ohio.
Oh.
Yeah, Madison, Ohio. But that was pretty frightening.
I was told there's a lot of activity there.
Yes.
Nice.
Yes, there was. We had quite a time with that one.
Wow. I had never went to Black Moon Manor, but I had heard a whole lot about it. And I know they tore it down.
Yes, yeah, they ended up tearing it down. It surprises me too because Jeff Belanger is on Ghost Adventures, and Zach and the boys, had done that one. Actually, we were there just a couple weeks after they had been there, and not knowing that they were going there. But I'm surprised they didn't do their background check much more thoroughly. Now, this guy gave you a whole listing of names. Supposedly, there was a cemetery on the property, that house had been used for a funeral home, a pox hospital. I mean, it had a history. It was a paranormal investigator's, wet dream. It just, you bit, for it and said, okay, let's do this one. And none of it was true. That's what really was. None of it was all made up. He went to huge lengths to make this, attractive enough to get us to go down there. Well, not just us personally, but anybody. And a lot of people did. And a lot of that cash went in his pocket. And did you know how they found out about that? It was aired on Ghost Adventures, and the people who actually owned the property, this guy didn't even own it. They lived in Ohio. And somebody called him up and said, hey, do you know that they're using your piece of property? Yeah. And the guy got caught for it. I mean, it was just, seriously. I thought that was kind of humorous at the end, but yeah, that took some gumption to put that together.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
See, I had heard he had rented that property from that guy.
Never paid him a dime.
Really?
And the story he was telling people was that he had bought it.
Yeah, I remember that.
He had bought it, and that he wanted to create a haunted house attraction, and then found out it was really haunted. And then all these, stories, and he found all this stuff and had all this documentation and, yada, yada. And we all fell for it. That's where you feel, all right, you've been duped, but then you feel kind of foolish that you followed along the footsteps of everybody else without stopping to question. And that is also a lesson that sits with me. Next time we learn to check.
Yeah, we had been scheduled that first year they opened, and then it was spring, April or May, and for some reason he gave our date away to someone else, and we never went then.
Oh my!
And now I'm kind of glad we ended up not going.
Sure. Now we did get there was stuff going on. I don't think it had anything to do with the spirit world he created. I mean, as far as the documentation he produced, but there was spiritual activity going on there. I mean, we had recordings of children's voices, the ball bouncing. What was really interesting is this is an abandoned property. It was in the middle of summer. The mosquitoes outside were carrying you away. The inside, of course, is all dark because everything was closed off. The windows were all sealed, but there was not a bug. There was not any visible sign of any kind of animal droppings or chewing or. Now you're sitting out in the middle. This was pretty much set back from the road, but you're in the middle of cornfields here too. You would suspect, or at least think you'd find something along that line. And there was nothing inside that place.
Wow, so
really weird.
not a living soul at all in
Exactly.
that place.
Exactly.
Wow.
That is odd.
But those mosquitoes were so bad outside. I'm telling you, we took a special trip because we left our bug spray at home. We took a special trip to Walmart to go get stuff, thinking we're going to get chewed up like crazy, and nothing inside that place. Nothing. So strange. But
Wow.
yeah, that was the most interesting kind of experience.
Now, where have you not been yet that's like your dream location that you want to go do?
Oh, we believe there are so many places.
Yeah.
I guess, I don't know. I think Marianne agrees with me. We're looking for the virginal. Yeah, there's lots of places. We're lined up in this year to go to. Let's see, Franklin Castle. We're going to do Galleon House in Ohio. We're going to go down and do the Willow Sweep. We try to fit in ours in between the schedules for the old jail, because obviously we do the investigations there for them. But as far as the big names, I try to steer away from them, because I want to find the place where nobody's been before, or that it's really new on, which is why the jail has been such a pleasure for us, because we feel we breached that veil. We've brought these together with the living, that we're making that contact, and again, that's just a privilege. I'm honored to be sharing and experiencing. But
We'll go to Gettysburg anytime.
oh yes, Gettysburg anytime. Yep. We went just this past summer, spent a week there, and just had a wonderful time. I mean, that hits you on so many different senses. It's unbelievable.
Cashtown Inn is haunted.
We spent the first 2 nights at Cashtown Inn, and there was he just liked to stand at the end of the bed, and you wondered, oh yeah, both nights. Okay, just one. We both had touching incidences from there. That was kind of humorous. I awoke to the feeling of having my butt cupped, and she got the feeling of being, yes. At first it said, "Ooh," and then it's like, "Oh, wait a minute." And then they tried to pull Marianne out of bed.
Oh wow.
Because the next thing I know, she's grasping at air, trying to hang on to not fall out, and that was quite humorous. But
They got a frisky, touchy-feely ghost, huh?
right. And then we found the journals the next night, and there were all these stories that other people had experienced pretty much the same thing, which was kind of cool. Again, the corroboration of stories.
Yes.
That was neat. But yeah, we'll go to Gettysburg anytime.
Yeah, I want to go there too. I've never been.
We went then to the Doubleday Inn that's on the battlefield. And on one side, you can go at any time during the night, but on the other side, you're on the federal side, and you can't, because they will definitely nail you after 10 o'clock, because the parks close. But what a beautiful place to stay. And of course, you're right there in the midst of the battlefields, and it's fun to drive around, get lost. How many ways can you find Sachs Bridge? And meet other people, who like to do this too. Out in the middle of the night, wandering around. But yeah, what a wonderful place. I mean, just historically, physically sensational. I mean, it's just overwhelming. It's overwhelming.
Yeah, I saw your pictures, and I knew you guys had went up there.
Yeah, if you get to do the B&Bs, I definitely would recommend the Cashtown. The first night we were the only ones there, and we were at the very end of that little veranda on the side. That was really cool. Because apparently they're closed on Mondays, and that was the day we had arrived, or the restaurant's not open. And yeah, so yeah, they kind of checked us in and said, "Okay, see you tomorrow." Okay, we'll take that anytime. But yeah, if you have an opportunity, yeah, by all means, I highly recommend it. Highly recommended.
We'll have to check that out one day.
Yes, yeah, do that.
So where is your dream investigation?
Yeah, we're good to. Marianne was just saying that this coming fall we're doing a fall trip. We're heading to Antietam in Maryland, and then we're going to go up to Lake George, New York, which is Adirondacks, around a lot of the Ford activity, and then we're going up to where her daughter lives in New Hampshire, who is just now starting to get involved and locate places that historical society involvement and that kind of thing. So we're really looking forward to that. And besides, it's fall in New England, so how can we go wrong, right? She lives in a beautiful area right below the White Mountains.
Oh, the White Mountains are amazing.
Yeah, she's... Well, right now they're a little snow tired. I'm sure you could relate to that.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
So I'm sorry, you started to say, Marianne was saying talking at the same time when you started asking another question.
Oh, I'm just curious where your dream investigation or investigations are. If you could go anywhere and investigate in the world, where would you go?
I want to go to that Doll Island.
Oh, the Doll Island?
Mexico?
Or maybe we call it the nightmare investigation. I don't know. I have this thing about dolls. Just I know a lot of people do, but yeah, to a very large extent.
Take you there if you go.
Marianne would be more than willing to make sure that I got there, given any opportunity.
I think I go with you guys.
Let's do that. Let's plan on that. Let's that be on our bucket list, Jen. Let's make that happen.
And we put Evelyn out there by herself for a 15-minute,
I'll do the hut alone for 15 minutes. Let me get my heart medication. Do we have heart medication? Is something I can take? I don't know, but yeah, I would take one for the team.
I saw that investigation that Ghost Adventures did on that island, and I don't know. Having the spiders there the size of friggin' dogs, no, I don't think I could handle that. I mean, the dolls I could handle, the spiders, no.
I don't think I could handle the snakes there.
Yeah, because I mean, even they were saving even the water around the island, like there's spirits that live in the water, and
Sure.
they've had instances of people being pulled in and going missing, and
It looks really, really dark and black. Even during the day, it does.
It's an adventure.
Now I'm trying to think of someone to help me find the old Clown Hotel out west, above Las Vegas.
The Old Cloud Hotel. Sure.
oh, I've been there.
Have you been there?
Yeah, I didn't stay there, but I'd been there on the outside.
It's up for
Super
sale.
creepy, and
What's going on this?
Tonopah itself is I don't understand how people live there. The whole town, there's a bunch of ley lines in that area, and it's saturated with spirit energy. No matter where you go in that town, it's like they're walking around in clumps and masses. And we were there one night, and we left. It felt like we've been beat up. We were limping, going home with our tails between our legs. It was very brutal.
Wow.
Especially if you're sensitive, it just kicks your ass. It's terrible.
Oh, sure.
But it is very cool.
So how long had you been with your team when you went there?
Me? Oh gosh.
Yeah. How long had you been doing this?
Oh my gosh, it had been a couple of years, maybe.
I didn't know if it was one of your first ghost adventures or not.
No, it was the one that I did in I went February of 2016.
Oh, okay.
Because we did the Mizpah. We did that investigation. Then we were going to do the Clown Hotel the next night, but we were just so busted up that we just left. Because it was just, if we had stayed, probably something horrible would have happened, because we were just so drained, and so it took a lot out of us. But that little burying yard right next to the hotel, it's just like a whole nother dimension. It's weird. It's almost like a little bubble around it. You can see it.
I'm saying it.
You're just selling it to her. She's like, yeah, sure, let's go. Oh, we were so close. We went to Vegas back in September. Yeah, of course. Yeah, to get on our itinerary. That was our first time there. So we'll have to. Now we know the way. We'll have to make arrangements to get out in that area.
Yeah, it's it's definitely worth going to, but to stay there long again, I don't understand how people live there.
Oh, sure.
I think everybody who lives there is insane. And I don't think they went into the place insane, but I mean,
sure,
it will drive you nuts. It drove us nuts just being there 24 hours.
Wow.
Crazy.
Someplace to keep in mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, put that on the list.
Anywhere else you'd like to investigate?
Oh gosh, we're pretty open.
Yeah, I mean, I would take any castle. We really have so much to do here on the stateside. I haven't given much thought or.
I'd like to go back to the Bronx and investigate some of the areas that we've learned about since we moved away.
We had no idea. Of course, we should realistically think about it. How much history is there? 13 colonies. Hello. Your history lessons are certainly checked when you're doing these things, and you go, when did I not pay attention to this particular battle or that particular piece of history? And you go, duh, But yeah, we've been getting more and more pieces of information regarding places that we were living right in the middle of that, would be a haunt for us, no pun intended. We would be there, just as often as we possibly can. But yeah, there's just so much. We've spoken before about wanting to go back towards the East Coast. That I think we will eventually get there and live out our days as two little old ladies, going from one Victorian to another. Hopefully, landing in one, staying there. We decided we could do that. Get one of those big old houses, live in the lower level, and the other world can live upstairs. I don't see why not. Have our visitations every now and then. We'll see what happens.
Well, I know you guys do private investigations. You actually we came to a presentation we were giving at the Ligonier Library.
Yes.
And had an emergency come up. Is there any private investigation that stands out to you that you can discuss?
Christmas.
Which one?
Christmas.
Oh my goodness! Yes, that was always that. Yeah, one of the first ones that we actually became involved with. We didn't even know that we knew the person. There was a radio personality here that was interested in the paranormal, and she had a friend that was having an issue. Had moved into a rather new apartment complex just north of town here, little duplexes, and she lived alone, her and a little dog. And she was having devices being turned on in the middle of the night. She was smelling smoke. She had male whispering in her ear, and she was scared. Well, come to find out, we actually knew her, but that was awfully comical. Her boyfriend stuck around the evening that we were showing up, and when he saw us, we realized we not only members of the same church, but he knew us personally. Said, "Oh, just give him the keys, and we'll see you tomorrow," because they were leaving the place to us for the evening. Marianne's youngest daughter was with us in that one, which is 3 of us. It was a small place, and she had left. It was a Harry Potter book release that night or something at Walmart.
Yeah.
So she had taken off, and that's when the fun began. I think it really picked up. I'm sitting by the front door entrance in this location. There's a stand and a light on that stand right next to the door. Marianne's sitting across from me in a chair, just a small wall area. Kitchen area on one side, small hallway to 2 bedrooms on the other in the bathroom. we're in the dark, and we're like, okay, so we're talking aloud to the whatever spirit entity might be there, and saying something to the effect of, okay, well, it's all well and good to bother this young lady when she's alone and doesn't know what's going on, and basically, what have you got to say for yourself? And we hear this click, and the light turns on next to me. And of course, I laughed because I looked at Marianne. The look on your face was priceless. She said, "Yeah, but you're sitting right next to it. It's just a foot away from me." We checked out everything to find out if there was a timer on it, if there was anything that could possibly have triggered this light to go on. So we in process again. We had the cameras and stuff running, and I look up, talking to Marianne. Of course, again, you're in the dark, so your eyes are trying to basically focus where she is, and to her left, I see in the hallway, looks like the end of a cigarette butt, the cherry, if you will, going like, what is that? And then she smells the cigarette smoke. Now, we can't completely discount all of it. I mean, we had the visual, but there is another apartment. There could be somebody over there if they smoked, which they're not supposed to, but who knows? You could still have that smell come through the house. So we can't always say that that's a valid, certainly seemed it at the time, but if that was a valid experience. So Marianne walks over, and at that time we were still using the Melmeter, not the Melmeter, the three functional, and she's holding it up, and it's just going to town, reading off the chart. And she's standing this with her head up in the air. The CD player clicks on below her, which would have been about 1:30 in the morning, which is the time that the gal was saying that things would happen. Only she would have a CD in it, and it would be blaring. So of course it scares her. She came out of the room and turning it off. She even tried, I think, unplugging it a couple occasions. Anyway, yeah, it clicked on while we were there, and that was kind of remarkable. We could not get a clear picture in her room. To say, you could stand there and take a shot into her room. I could turn and take a shot in the hall. The hall would be perfectly clear. The bedroom would just be blur. Time and time again, we just could not get a clear picture, and it was quite interesting.
Then the shadow.
And then there was the shadowing, which would have been the wall that abutted her bedroom to the living room, and by that front door, and it was up above. And Mary, I'm seeing. It's darkening in this corner, and we have the picture showing the difference. There's no light. There would not have been any light coming from the back, and there were no cars or anything from the front. Again, it's a small area to justify where the shadowing was coming from. So we presented what we had, and she got her lease released the following week, and she moved. That was it. She was done. She thought she was going crazy, but we were able to present enough to say, no, we don't know why it's happening. If you want us to look any further, it was, no, that's okay, I'm finished. So she managed to get out of her lease, and she was done with it. But that was kind of a fun one. We had a long running one. Family lived down south. I fervently promised that until her youngest child was 18, we would not release any documentation from that particular investigation, if you want to call it that. We were.
I think she froze.
Oh.
Uh-oh. I see the jail still.
I just see a freeze screen of her. Hopefully it'll clear up in a minute.
I'm looking at actually on YouTube too. I've got like a split screen. Hopefully she'll be back. So, till she comes back to us, if you could investigate anywhere in the world, where would it be?
There's a lot of places here that I want to do, but if I really had like a one-shot thing, I think I would want to go over to Romania and go check out Vlad Tepes's castle.
I go with you.
I mean, it's just, I don't know. I know we have a lot of resources here that you can go and do, and you can do the whole United States alone, forever. But I mean, there's so many places overseas too that are just amazing. In Ireland too, that's a lot of castles, and of course there's Stonehenge. Oh my gosh, I could go on forever about where I would go. Egypt, gosh, an Easter Island with all those funky heads sticking out, sticking out the grounds. I mean,
I read that they're below ground too, like so many feet. I don't remember how many feet it is.
Just the fact that they exist and how they were crafted, I mean, it's amazing, and they're still kind of a mystery, like what were they for? And then
She says she's coming back.
Coming back? Good.
Yep. Says coming back, exclamation point. Yeah, there's so many places. I know I would like to go to Pripyat, or however you say it, over by Chernobyl.
Oh, Pripyat, yeah.
Yep.
That would be cool too.
Pompeii.
There's another one in Italy, Poveglia. I know Ghost Adventures did it. But that made me want to go do it because, I mean, they had quite the experience out there.
Yeah, I would like to do the ghost tour of Italy and Greece.
Sheesh, like with all the locations out there in the world available, you wouldn't be able to do it in one lifetime. It would be just...
Those are my highlights. I think here I would like to do Sloss Furnace.
Down where?
In Alabama. I think it's in Alabama. Alabama or Mississippi. Let me Google that bad boy.
Familiar, but I don't know why it sounds familiar.
It's an old furnace. I don't remember what they made. Sloss Furnace. But it's supposed to be haunted by something negative. So why not?
Now, is there anywhere in the world that you cannot be paid enough to go into? You would not step foot in there, even if somebody was like, I would hand you like $50 million right now, tax-free. You would not step into that building or that area. Where would that be? If there's any place.
I don't think there is, but I wouldn't step in the Indiana Jones temple with all the snakes. No. So anyone that got a lot of snakes is a no. No, I can't do that. Sloss Furnace. Why is my Google not working? It's going to something funky.
My internet's not happy tonight either. I think it's because of the snowstorm.
Probably. Sloss Furnace, Birmingham. It's in
Alabama.
Yep.
We're back.
Welcome back.
Well, my sister told me I was talking too much and shut me down. Whoop! I said, hey, what happened? Sorry about that, ladies.
Oh, you're fine. We were just talking about our dream investigations.
And what would that be?
You can go ahead, Violet.
You may need a list, but the number one would be going to Romania to Vlad Tepes's castle.
Oh, yes. That would be a good one.
I would want to have a good team with me, though.
Yes, for sure. Miriam saying a good team.
Oh, yeah, you'd have to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I watched that on Scariest Places on Earth last week. When the I was like, I don't know. I think some of that's fake, but that's a whole nother subject.
Sure. Yes, indeed. We could do a whole night on that stuff.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we could. We actually talked about it last week, didn't we?
Yep.
But I said I think Pripet over by Chernobyl would be my number one place to go.
Sure.
And then Pompeii and Greece.
So many places. There's such, history there that
Oh yeah.
yeah, it's overwhelming. We just have to win the lottery, guys. That's all there is to it.
Yep.
And travel.
Can we drive to those places?
Can we? Oh yes, Miss don't want to fly here. If it's drivable, then she's all for it. Otherwise, we'll have to hit the bar before we get her on the plane, and make sure she's happy.
We'll buy her a sub. When we go overseas, we can buy her a sub.
No, well, I wouldn't go in a sub.
I wouldn't either. I'd fly. She can drive.
The right time of year.
Yeah.
There's the Bering Strait, the land bridge that bridges Asia. No. Yeah, Asia and Alaska. Like, there you go.
I'm thinking we get the Queen Mary.
You get the Queen Mary. There you go. That's something you could you can handle that. Indeed.
My next question is kind of serious.
Okay.
Many shows have seemed to turn to the demonic. It seems to be the new rage now. Have you ever encountered anything like this? I know it seems like it's becoming more and more prominent. Have you ever? I know there's a lot of malevolent spirits out there. I've ran into a few of them, but do you think it's malevolent or the demonic is coming more prevalent?
Well, yeah, I hear you, Marion. Did you want to respond?
Well, I think it has to do with attitude that you walk in with too.
I can agree with that.
Provoking and turning it on. Now, I think that one time when in the 7 there, as I was coming down the stairs, and I think something not nice was hitting me, with the nosebleed and the sickness and stuff.
Sure.
But we didn't pursue it.
This is true.
So we didn't let it, I don't think we let it get caught on, get into us. We cannot, if we think it's going to go that way, I think both of us have a tendency to say, that's not where we're at. Because I definitely don't want anything attaching and bringing it home with me either.
Yeah, that's very true. That's very true. And you're right. We tend not to provoke, not in that negative fashion or to, stoke any fire that might be there. I can't say that we've met something. Well, the touching, the feeling, the being pushed. I've had a number of occasions of having those types of experiences, but have backed away from it. I'm not going to stand up to it, or chose not to stand up to it, only because I didn't think I was prepared mentally to handle the challenge. And again, like Marion said, I'll reiterate what she said. I don't want to bring it with me, so I would much rather have somebody else deal with it that is better prepared. I'm in it to breach the veil, but I want to do so in an information sharing way and not a way of showing strength over one side or the other. So I think it's really our experiences with them have been limited. I feel fortunate about that, because we've really put ourselves in some places. Boy, we put ourselves in some places that we could probably found ourselves in pretty good trouble had we decided maybe even to pursue or provoke even more fully.
We could have had some bad B movies made.
There you go. The two dumb broads, put location here, insert location, and yeah, we definitely have stepped into some places that could have been much worse or even dangerous. So I guess a long or short answer to that, limitedly, if that makes sense.
It makes perfect sense.
Right. But as far as I can't say that's it. I think all of it's a cash cow for those that put it out there for visual. They're just pushing the ratings. I think I'm not so sure they're able to prove so much that it's demonic. That it's more the inference that it's demonic that gets people revved up and they want to see it. It makes for a good commercial or trailer, or they're just selling a product.
People like to hear.
Yeah. That aggravates me even more.
Are you going to watch a show where it's like Casper, or are you going to watch a show where you can really get scared and be like, oh my gosh, they went in there and they risked their lives for that? So,
absolutely. What audience do you want to gather?
Well, we've had some people at when we did like the one thing at the library, and you have some young people. Okay, what about demonic? And we're like, no, you don't want to deal with that. That's a whole side of it that. I believe, if you believe in good, you have to believe in evil. If you believe in angels, you have to believe in devils.
Yeah, absolutely.
And, that's a side that you don't know what you're dealing with. And they're like, oh, no, it's not like, after an hour in a show, you're going to go home and you're going to be okay. You can get caught up in something like that, and you're caught up in it.
Yeah.
So it's like, you look at me and say, no, you really don't want to open that door.
Yeah. You need that support to be able to handle it. You need to know what you're doing.
I agree.
Yeah, you need to have those checks and balances in place to protect yourself, your family. You're right. You don't know what you're dealing with, so why invite it?
And that kind of goes along with last week we talked about cleansing.
Mm-hmm.
How if you don't know what you're doing, you could make things worse.
That's true.
And I get so irritated on the Facebook pages. And then there was Noble County garage sales. This guy was just selling sage. And I messaged him. I said, and on my Facebook profile, it says BSR Paranormal and ADP. And it tells what I do. And I messaged this guy and I said, so what do you do with the sage? And he's like, oh, you just burn it and put a lot of smoke in your house. I said, no, what do you do with it if there's something negative?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you just burn more sage. You just fill your house with it. I said, okay, say you have something malevolent that scratches you. What do you do with the sage? Same answer. So I sent him a text. I said, you do realize you're going to get people hurt. I said, you should not be telling people just to burn sage. I said, there's more steps to it. I said, you need to know what you're doing instead of just selling this stuff. And then I sent him a screenshot of about me, and the man never answered me again. That is one of my biggest pet peeves.
Sure.
And on the Facebook pages, they'll say, people will be like, I have something in my house. Oh, just sage and salt. And then I'll say, have you ever done this before? And they'll say, no. And I'm like, you need someone to help you. So it's just not just sage and salt. There's more to it than people really think.
Sure. Yeah, you're playing with fire there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I agree.
Well, it's the 1 hour clip. You go to a haunted place, find something, and then you wrap up and say, okay, well, it was here, and you walk away,
And the place felt so much lighter, and the air was clear, and it's all gone. And yes, yeah, like you said, that 43-minute span of actual airtime.
Well, I have another question.
Yes.
I have many more. Do you think there's a lot of para-unity? And I've heard this a lot lately, there's some ideal stealing. One of our mutual friends posted something about this earlier this week. Stealing of evidence and videos and using them as their own. People are doing that a lot on YouTube. I've had it happen to some guys in the Dogman community. And and people who think they are more superior and knowledgeable than others in the paranormal community? I know that was a big, long question, wasn't it?
Yeah,
But I agree with most of it.
I do too. Para-unity is a wonderful catchphrase. I just have, if we're talking about getting along with one another, I could get behind it entirely. I mean, there's no doubt about it. And if it means that we're civil to each other, the problem that gets in the way, though, is it hinders honest criticism. Now, I get the whole point. We're all doing this, whatever our reasons. I'm hoping we're all heading in the right direction. But if I have a method, if I am using some screwy equipment, if I have no proof or evidence, you have every right to question.
I agree.
I feel that I should be able to present to you and say, hey, that's all well and good, but, and again, it's all in a rapport, it's all in how we have that communication with each other, the decency and respect for one another. But we should be able to criticize. We should be able to be critical and be able to ask or even demand, if you will, proof. I can't just accept it because, gee, you're a nice person and okay, that's cool. No, if it's BS, I'm going to call BS. And I think we should be able to do that with each other. So many times, me, I'm with the information we provide when you come to us. If I can't prove it, I'm not going to put it out there. If I can't, corroborate a story or find that evidence, I'm not going to say, oh, well, this happened because, we heard it, saw it, something somebody said. No, I want to be able to provide that evidence. But it's all in the way we deal with each other. We just need to remain civil. But I just can't simply accept para-unity as a way of a blanket acceptance of stuff that, no, we need to question. It behooves us to question. If we want any kind of veracity to what we're doing, we spend so much, I don't know about you guys, I'm sure you dedicate a lot of time and effort to this. We do it for a reason, then I think we deserve to be able to expect respect, but also proof, and be able to question it. That's where I come from on para-unity.
Your sister's very quiet.
I'm just listening. But on the other hand, though, I think people do take. Now, we've had some of our stuff taken and somebody else presented it as theirs.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Sure.
And it's like, hey, we will accept you do your own thing, but, don't say, oh, yeah, look the evidence I got. And it's like, no, that's not yours.
Right. Right, yeah.
We'd be willing to talk to you and tell you things and, share things with you, but, yeah, it's got to be, and I don't think, even like the professional ghost hunters, they really don't know much more than we do.
I agree.
They need a lot more to do with it.
Well, yeah, it depends on your backing, who you got behind you, and those that stepped forward in the field first with the names, they're the ones that have been followed. They set the guidelines and the parameters. I mean, we're the ones that really need to pull this forward. We can't just keep doing the same thing over and over, expecting different results without questioning and changing our methods. I think we just need to be moving forward always and talking to each other. That whole, I'm better than you, I can find more than you, I've got more equipment than you. I'm a gadget person. Marianne will tell you, she'll mention something. I watched the show. We'll be on the phone. Did you see so-and-so was using this? And she'll hear me clacking on the board in the background. Oh, got it. One's coming tomorrow. It's a different camera. It's a different light or just something, you know, a gizmo. And I was notorious for that. And it was getting frustrating because you were getting a questioning now, what exactly am I buying? What is this telling me? Is it going to move me forward or us forward in proving what we want to prove? It's a real balance. But then you also have to remember too that, you know, it's all this diversity and the conflict that it creates that really enables us to make the best advancements. This is what pushes us forward. So there has to be some sort of a healthy, I don't want to say competitive level, but a working level. Okay, we did this. You expand on it. You do that, and then we expand on it, and we work together, and we share. That's what I would like to see more of. Not this, I did this. I got this show. I got this. You know, hey, more power to you. But what are you doing for the paranormal? You know, just like to see it move forward. I think we really need to get into that, again, due diligence with the recording and verifying, you know, what we're finding. Well,
No,
I could on that a long time.
Well, I had to buy more recorders, and I do love your SLS machine that you have. Lottery, I'm going to buy me one.
You know, I've been privileged, you know, very fortunate in a lot of cases. And I also put in a lot of tax hours. The tax season's my big time. You know, I do that on the side. It's, you know, another job basically. And I just kind of decide what I'm going to get each season.
You know, when I asked if we could use it that night, I felt like a little kid again. I was so excited. Like, ooh.
I got it back. She's all good to go. We found out what the problem was with it. It was an update to a internet protection program that bumped with the SLS program and was causing that codec error. So I mean, Bill got it all fixed up for me. So we're back in business with him.
I'll be there in March.
We should.
A kind of fun question. Have you ever seen a UFO, black-eyed children, anything that's not a spirit or a cryptid?
We talked about this, Merrimack, Maine. Sister has our sister has since passed, but a house up in Patton, Maine. We used to climb up Chase Mountain, not far from Katahdin. I think Violet would probably recognize those names. We had seen some lights around the mountain and didn't know until much later, actually not too long ago, that my nephew was aware of potential UFO sightings up in that area. The best I could tell you is, we saw some lights in the sky, and that was a long time ago as far as I was concerned. I don't, Marianne, do you have?
Yeah, other than that.
Oh no, they froze again. Do you know the area she's talking about?
Yeah. Yep. Actually, I think in Patton, Maine, there's a pond. I think it's called Patton Pond. Haha, originality, right?
Right.
Yep, there's Katahdin. I know where she's talking about. I mean, a lot of people around here see lights, UFOs, all that stuff. And luckily, we don't have much light pollution, so you even get a better chance to see kind of what's going on in the night sky, because there's not many big cities. Even our big cities aren't that big, so they don't put out much light.
I know last night we were driving home from Ariana's basketball practice, and Caden was in the front seat and she was behind me. and we saw the meteor come down, and
Nice.
it went in his friend's grandparents' backyard, like out in the middle of the country.
Ooh.
And then Ariana started, she's like looking out the window. She's like, now I'm looking for UFOs. So she wants to see a UFO. I actually saw one at Revenant Acres when we were there 2 years ago in the fall.
Wow.
Yeah. I wanted to see one, and I had my back to the house and was facing the cornfield, and beyond the cornfield was the woods. And it was so quiet. I know it was not a plane, and it went over, and as soon as it hit the woods, it just disappeared. No sound, because if it was a plane, you would have heard it.
Oh, absolutely.
And it just looked like a huge white orb
Wow.
out of nowhere. And I talked to someone, and I said, have you heard? He used to work. It's actually, I work with him with the NADP, and he's investigated UFOs, ghosts. He'll be on the show one day. And I asked him if he'd heard anything, and he checked around, and he's like, actually, I have. They saw some stuff over there. So I was like, oh, thank goodness I'm not crazy and not seeing things. So that was my big UFO sighting. Didn't you have some out in California?
Oh yeah, on the way back from Joshua Tree. That orb, like, it was like a whitish, metallic-looking orb. It's like basically the same thing.
Was yours really huge?
Yeah, it looked pretty big. I mean, even zooming in the high-resolution camera we had, it was pretty big. And there was two of them, and then there was just one after a little while, and then after that, it disappeared, and then, 3 minutes later, here comes a helicopter. You know, not suspicious at all. So, so yeah.
At least it wasn't fighter jets.
I know, right? That would have been mind blowing.
Yeah, that would have been crazy to see. I think I will check on them real quick.
Well, it's been about an hour. I think a little more than anyway. So.
I think they're quite interesting ladies.
They are. They're wonderful.
We didn't even get to talk about the jail yet.
No. We'll have to have them on again.
Yeah.
Just to talk about the jail.
Yeah, we will. And I know Marianne likes to discuss Bigfoot too.
Oh, Bigfoot.
Yeah. So, all righty. Well, she hasn't answered me yet, so I'm going to guess she is down for the evening. I will send her a message and let her know. Maybe they can come back next week. Oh, let me ask her real quick. So hopefully they can come back and we can just continue. Oh, she just joined us again.
And we're back. I think it just needs like a potty break or something. I don't know. It just shuts down on me and boop. What is that? Sorry, ladies.
No, no problem.
I didn't have to go potty. It wasn't me. Marianne's still here. So,
are you ladies available next week?
are we available next week? Are you cheap, easy? She's pretty easy. Yeah, I think we could probably arrange something.
All righty. We can continue this next week if you ladies would like.
That's entirely up to you. We've appreciated your time and listening to us. And yeah,
I still
talk.
because we have such a problem talking, you know. And she just laughs. Did you hear that, Miriam?
I heard that. You know, Jim.
Jen's getting way too familiar. Yeah, sure, we can come. Yeah, if you'd like to have us back next week, we'd be happy to. Now that we've got a little better handle on the program, and maybe we can be on time, and not you, us.
We still have to discuss Bigfoot.
Oh, Marianne, can you hold off till next week?
I like Bigfoot.
She'd be all into that. Maybe I can have her on next week too. So we'll get her set up. We didn't realize she didn't have the Google and all that stuff, so we'll be better prepared.
All right. Well, thank you for coming on.
Thanks for having us. Violet, it was a pleasure speaking with you, and we look forward to many more sessions in the future.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, thank you. It was nice to meet you as well.
And you ladies have a good night, and we'll be in touch. Stay warm from...
All right. We will see you next Wednesday.
Okay, girls.
Have a good night.
Thank you. You as well. Bye-bye.